1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. 1 full hour of wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the tag team of Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, and your host, Mark Hoke.
All right. I hate to be lying that we don't have a trios in here tonight.
And my tag team partner couldn't make it.
Yeah. It's Saturday night.
What else could he be doing on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock in Las Vegas?
Maybe running a wrestling card.
Is he running a card tonight?
I don't know. I have to look. I didn't get to ask Joe what he's doing. But this is the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 1015 FM, 720 AM. The talk of Las Vegas. 2 stations. It's the station so nice, we're on your dial twice. Gonna have a great time talking a little pro wrestling tonight with my good buddy in there. I'll tell you, the blue is gone, by the way. Andrew Fish Fain. Fish!
Yes, sir.
You're doing your natural hair color.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
Black and gray, baby.
Yeah. Lots of gray. It's getting grayer by the minute.
Yeah, I can tell. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's been, of course, we are normally on Sundays at 8 a.m.
And we will be.
Pacific time. And, of course, we will be with Joe tomorrow. But, hey, we get the time. We take it. Because I'm greedy.
Hey, if WWE can have 2 shows and AEW can have 2 shows, we can have 2 shows.
Perfect. That's great. Maybe we got to make a main event kind of show, too.
We'll just have like our C talent come on.
Yeah, we gotta find some. We gotta find some low level.
I can say something, but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to be mean to this one person that used to do the show with you.
Oh my God. Anyway, hey, we're talking pro wrestling here on KDWN. And before I go on, by the way, I do want to thank everybody out there that's been listening to the show. It's hard to get numbers, period, on the weekends. It really is.
Yeah, because like I said, what else is someone doing at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night in Vegas?
Yeah. But when you look at numbers for the Sunday morning show, easily the best on the station, and we've been ranking pretty high up there.
I do want to. If you spike tonight, then we'll know it's because of me. Because Sunday it spikes because I'm on, and Saturday night now it's spiking because I'm on.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that's the reason.
Yeah, I'm going to spike you. But thank you all for listening and making the show a great success. And of course, we have the podcast being downloaded from around the world. I mean, that list of countries and stuff is crazy. Finally got a download in Rhode Island.
Nice. I hear we're huge in Namibia too.
I don't know about that one, but do you know? But I'm gonna talk bitterness for 1 second right now. Fish, where did I go to college?
Penn State, I believe.
No, I was from that area.
North Dakota State.
I went to North Dakota State. You know what? One of 5 states that we haven't had downloads in yet is
North Dakota.
Yeah, what is going on, guys?
There's like, 15 people that live in North Dakota?
Hey, now. It's more than that.
20?
I don't know what it is. It's just that little section up there, like North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana.
Is your state motto, we're better than South Dakota? We're the best of the 2 Dakotas?
You don't have to say that. It's a given. So, guys, if you have friends in like North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, I think, was the other one, and then Vermont. We have 5 states we haven't hit yet for some stupid reason.
Vermont makes no sense at all.
I don't know, man. Please tell your friends up there, and tell your friends in Saskatchewan as well. It's funny, Fish, because and I don't want to get too inside-y baseball here, but when I look at the stats, they're like colors to fill in on the map and everything, and all the lower provinces of Canada are filled in, and there's this one in the middle. It's annoying.
Nothing from Saskatoon.
What the heck? Come on, guys. We love you up there. We really do.
Come on, eh?
So get into the show.
We're fans of the Hart family.
Yeah, take off, eh? Anyway.
Hosehead.
Enough of that. But the wrestling news, boy, I'll tell you what.
Before you start, I do want to say, and this is wrestling related.
Yes.
I do not remember a time, and this is even including the Monday Night Wars, where wrestling news has been more fruitful than it has been in the last 2 months.
It's been unreal.
Yeah, I mean, every week there's something new for us to talk about.
The happenings with Vince McMahon leaving WWE are having more ramifications in the world of professional wrestling than I don't even think I would have imagined. If you don't know what's happened over the past few weeks, Vince McMahon has resigned as CEO of WWE.
Something I never thought I'd see.
Because, well, he was hanging around with the ladies.
Dipping his hand in the cookie jar. It wasn't his hand, but you get my point.
Hey, now. And they have been finding more and more money that he paid out to these women in settlements. And guess what, Fish? They found another $5 million a couple days ago.
So is it $19 million?
We're now at 19.6. Hey, get 20, 25, 30, 35. It is.
And that's my question. How high does it get, do you think?
These are back from, I believe it was, let me pull the story here real quick.
Can it get to 40, 45 million, do you think? I mean, are there going to be, and I'm not trying to sound sexist or make a joke about it, but can there be that many women that he was trying to get with?
What do you think? I don't know if the money is going to get that high, but I'm not going to be shocked if there's more settlements that are going to come out.
Who had more women? Deshaun Watson, Vince McMahon. Deshaun's at 23. That's a pretty high. High bar.
That is a high bar to hit. But these two are from 2007 and 2009 that just came up this week. And here's where Vince is in trouble. Okay, even though he did pay this out of his personal funds, these still count as expenses for the company because it happened. It was company related.
Right.
So now, with all these settlements, they've had to go back and redo all their quarterly earning reports for all these years. And now they have to go back to 7 and 9 and change those too.
And it's funny because I keep seeing the report. They just told the SEC, we'll have an updated one for you in 2 days. And then, okay, we'll have an updated one for quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4 of 2017. 1, 2, 3. So it's like every day they have to go, okay, give us another day because we have to update it again.
So now the man who's been running that company for 40 years is history. And I don't think there's any question. There is no way Vince is ever going to be allowed to be involved with WWE again.
Oh, absolutely not.
He's done. The stockholders are not going to put up with it. Of course, Vince's stock went up like $11. I think it was around 66 or 65, somewhere in there. Before all this happened.
I happen to have bought on Robinhood shares of stock in the WWE, so I'm just trying to look up right now where my stock is at.
Because it went up to 77. So Vince leaving has apparently, instead of having a bad effect, has got everybody kind of excited about the future of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, at some point, you've got to think that when the SEC comes down on them, because the SEC will come down on this company, that something's going to happen and the bottom may fall out for a little bit.
That's a possibility. But Vince, boy, he's in trouble. He is in some serious trouble. But what has really occurred because of this, massive changes within World Wrestling Entertainment itself, mostly in terms of talent relations and the creative area, which now the son-in-law, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, or Paul Levesque, his real name, has taken over those duties. His daughter, Stephanie, who he fired a few months ago.
In May, I think, yeah.
Said it was a family thing, and then, well, all of a sudden we found out that, no, they weren't happy with some of her performances in sales and marketing and stuff like that. So Vince fired her.
You're fired.
He fired his son a while ago.
And the son's staying fired. They don't, from what I gather, Triple H and Stephanie do not want Shane back.
No. Ruffled too many feathers, shall we say.
You're going to say rubbing the wrong way. That's what happened to Vince, too.
Yeah, I caught myself on that one. But the interesting part is that since these new roles have been taken by Mr. Levesque, WWE product has changed significantly, and all these people that Vince fired, and I mean, it was a huge list, but all these people that Vince fired that Triple H had brought up through NXT, which is WWE's developmental show and system, they're coming back and coming back and coming back.
And my first thought is, how many people can he? Because every show, someone new is coming back from the NXT, from NXT or the old NXT. Mm-hmm. How many people can he actually bring back?
That's a good question. We'll get to that in a minute. But obviously the situation is now these other people are coming back. Plus, you also now the situation also trickles over to All Elite Wrestling, the WWE's main competitor right now, because a lot of people left WWE because of all the nonsense and craziness and micromanaging that Vince did. You know, you can't say certain words. You can't. Your promos, when you're trying to promote a match, are completely scripted. You can't be yourself. The cheesy 8th grade sophomore humor appears to be getting pulled out, even though, you have Triple H and, with DX, they kind of, they did their share.
Even the whole name thing, I think that whole atmosphere is changing. He may not go back to Austin Theory, for example, but I think when other people come in, they're not going to have to change their names.
I think I saw a report. I think it was Garza that he may be getting his first name back.
He is.
So all these things that Vince obsessed over are gone. And
one of the biggest things that's I think most noticeable is the shackles are off the announcers.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that right away. Because if you didn't know that as well, Vince was always in the ear of all of his announcers and would basically be telling them what to say through the whole broadcast.
Especially Michael Cole.
Michael Cole. And when you listen to Michael Cole now, he's free. The shackles are off the guy.
It's vintage Cole.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I don't know if we know what vintage Cole is.
Yeah, I know, but but all I ever remember, that's the only thing I ever hear is like vintage Cena. Yeah, we know.
Vintage Orton, yes. It's like a fine wine.
Yeah, so it's vintage Cole.
But now with All Elite Wrestling, with having the more freer atmosphere for their performers to do more things and be more wrestling oriented as opposed to being sports entertainment.
Unless you're Chris Jericho, then your entire thing is sports entertainment.
Yeah, it's a total spoof.
Of course.
But now I think it's going to be a little more interesting in terms of AEW getting people in and keeping them in because, obviously, I mean, AEW does a great job. They're selling out. They sell out their pay-per-views. They sell out their venues overall. They do an amazing production. They've only been in business for 3 years, though. And the WWE is doing stadiums. They're doing these massive events. WrestleMania, even though the attendance wasn't as high as they claimed it was last year, you're still doing stuff in places like AT&T Stadium. Next WrestleMania is coming up in LA.
And the Clash at the Castle is in a huge soccer stadium in Cardiff, I believe. And I believe that it's sold out already.
Yeah. So, and just the opportunities that you get with WWE, you've seen The Rock and John Cena and so many guys get acting gigs, and you just become more a part of pop culture than you do if you're in AEW. With the shackles off, Fish, it really seems to me that, and if the working atmosphere has changed too, especially for the women, it seems to me that they're going to have an uphill battle for a while in terms of, if you were just looking company to company, and now it's going to come down to pretty much the paycheck, I think.
Right. That was the problem. When WWE is run by Vince, it was, all right, I can take the money of the WWE, but I have to live in that little box. Or I can have the freedom of AEW, but I'll still make good money. I just won't make the same money. Now I have the freedom in both places, plus I can get the money at WWE. I think that's where AEW is in trouble because they can't match the money that WWE can offer them.
Now, some of the guys are still making pretty good paychecks. I mean, don't get me wrong.
No,
they're pretty massive. The guys have some good deals.
The next guy, I think that, and I don't know how long his contract is, but I don't even see him on AEW that much, is Keith Lee. I would not be surprised to see him back in WWE.
Well, he's part of half of the tag team champions now, so.
Yeah, I know. How long is he? How long is his contract? Do we know? Because I know like Adam Cole's till 2027.
Oh, I'm not sure if he signed 3 or 5.
I think Moxley is in the next couple of months he's out.
See, I can't see Moxley leaving. Of course, John Moxley's the current AEW interim world champion.
I have a lot to say about that. I don't know if you want to talk about that today or tomorrow, but I was listening to a Cornette thing about talking about that and how AEW completely screwed this whole interim champion thing up.
Well, we'll wrap up the Vince McMahon discussion, but the one really cool thing that is benefiting all of us as fans is now WWE could just kind of coast. SmackDown is the number one show on Friday night. Raw, even though the numbers were good, and they were still the number one show on cable. But now they're going to be putting out a product that I think competes with AEW's, because AEW's wrestling was really good. A lot of the nonsense that WWE did, AEW pretty much after the first year got away from, and it was much better to watch. Now the shows are both very good. Or all 4 of them. They're very good shows. And
the interesting thing, because the hot rumor now is the contract with USA says that WWE has to put on 3 hours of programming per week. Triple H wants to cut Raw back down to 2 hours.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so they just have to figure out what to do with that extra hour. Now, that doesn't mean, I don't know if it necessarily means it has to be on Monday nights, or if they can move it to another night of the week and have a different kind of show, which is they might do. They may have a wrestling news and notes type show. I don't know. But because one of the things Triple H has always said is the biggest problem for WWE is Raw is 3 hours long.
It is long. And, of course, we're here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment in Las Vegas. And I'm just going to say the whole gall-darned universe.
Except Saskatchewan.
Yeah, except Saskatchewan. Join us. Join us, Saskatchewan. But, yeah, I think this is an amazing time for fans, and this is going to be fun coming up, too, because you have 2 pay-per-views. Well, excuse me, a pay-per-view and a premium live event.
3 weeks from today and tomorrow.
Over Labor Day weekend, WWE's got the Clash at the Castle on that Saturday. That over here in the States will be on Saturday morning, so that'll be interesting to see viewership. And then AEW's All Out pay-per-view, which is their big one, is on Sunday. And this is going to be fun to see how competitive this really gets. Because I think Triple H understood that where AEW was taking fans, I don't even know if it's really taking fans per se, but that the actual show, the actual entertainment of it, the wrestling, was not up to par. Even though they have amazing performers, it wasn't up to par at AEW, and you can already see that is changing.
Who has the advantage? The company that goes first, the WWE, or the company that goes second to AEW on that weekend? In other words, because it's fresh, so you don't have anything to compete against, people can watch the WWE product and it can be amazing, or you have nothing to stack it up against, so you don't know how great it actually is. So is that better, or are you better off to be AEW, go, okay, this is what WWE did, we have to top that, so we can do what we have to do X, Y, and Z now?
Well, I don't know if it's that. I think it's just putting on a better show.
Yeah, I know, but that's my point. Would you rather be the first show on or the second show on?
Honestly, if I'm either company, I'm just worried about doing what I do best. I don't think you can really say, well, we think AEW is going to do these kind of things, so we need to do this. And I think that would be too reactionary. I think you just have to stick to the way you're doing things. And the same thing for AEW. I don't think that All Elite Wrestling should be looking at WWE and saying, oh, we got to change this and we got to change that. There are flaws on both shows still. But
Absolutely.
I think the fun part is that we as wrestling fans are going to get to see what WWE can really do, and AEW's already given them a push, and now AEW is going to get a push back. Man, we win.
It's a repeat of the Monday Night Wars, because that's exactly what happened between WCW and WWE in the 90s. But I totally had something, and I just completely lost my train of thought.
I'll disagree with you that on a little bit, in that WCW, once the NWO thing started to wear down a little bit, they didn't have the network wasn't behind the show. as time went on, they eventually got dropped when the AOL Time Warner merger happened. So I don't know if they have the backing, and you seem to you brought in Vince Russo and just everything went off the rails there. And I don't think AEW is going to go off the rails. I think it's just going to be a matter of these are going to be two quality companies putting on 4 really good shows, and they're going to have to beat each other with what they do in the ring.
The one thing that Triple H has done that I find very exciting is he's made the secondary titles important.
Yes.
He did that when he had the matches to see who the number one contender for the U.S. title is. I think this tag team tournament to see who the women's tag team champions are going to be. I think that raises the level of the title. And I think the Intercontinental Championship, the U.S. title, all those titles need to be important, and Vince McMahon did not care about them.
No,
and doing what Triple H is doing makes them seem important.
Yeah, they were passed around, like a doobie.
Yeah.
Hey man, you want a hit of this? Yeah. You want a U.S. title hit? Yeah. Well, they have run a promo piece about the U.S. title, actually taking the history of the belt and the great champions over the years that held that title, and you can see that they want to try and up the level and respect of that. And the same thing with the Intercontinental title. And you look at the two guys that have those belts right now. Bobby Lashley is the U.S. champion. And, this isn't some mid-carder that's holding this title.
No.
This is Bobby Lashley.
Well, that was my point. It used to be if you were the Intercontinental champion or you were the U.S. title holder, you were next in line to be the top guy.
Right.
That was prepping you to be the top guy. If you had that belt, that was the next step, was to be champion. And then all of a sudden, when Vince took over, Vince made them mean nothing. I mean, the Intercontinental Championship was never even defended on pay-per-views. It became more of a TV title.
Right. And now you have Gunther, the former Walter, is holding the Intercontinental title, who everybody...
Great match with Shinsuke yesterday.
He is a monster.
And that match with Shinsuke was fantastic.
Yeah, and they turned those guys loose. Like I think we mentioned it to you last week on the Sunday show.
Absolutely. You said if they turn them loose, it's going to be great, and it was.
Yeah, because those guys are hard-hitting, powerful guys, King of Strong style against the mean old Gunther, and they let it go. It was
fantastic.
Can you imagine that match, that kind of match happening under Vince?
No.
There's no way.
And I think that if they are going to a TV 14 format, I think that's going to be much better for WWE as well.
Yeah. And, so this is going to be fun. And we haven't even talked about all the people that came back, because we had more returns this week, for better or worse.
Top dollar.
I'm going to say that, for better or worse. But, yeah, we'll get into that when we come back from the break. But, Fish, I gotta ask you. You ever checked out automated day trading?
I have not, but I need to.
I think you may want to consider this, all right, because we do have a great sponsor on the show that is Trading Made Easy. Do automated day trading from your home. It's run it software. They train you on it. All you have to do is you can get in a free webinar. Just go to tradingmadeasy.com. It's so easy. They only need one E instead of two.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It is amazing. So go on the website, sign up for a seminar. It's time to get rid of that 9-to-5 job.
Oh, hell yes.
Just do it. Go on the website, tradingmadeasy.com, or give them a call at 800-971-4160 and sign up for a free trading session right now. That is tradingmadeasy.com. Hey, we're going to be right back on the Mark Hoke Show. We will get into what's been going on AEW and WWE right after this. Hi, this is Mark Hoke. Has out-of-control inflation, gas prices, and grocery costs wrecked your wallet? Then check into automated day trading with Trading Made Easy. Trading Made Easy has spent 5 years helping people put cash in their pockets with their simple-to-use day trading software. So if you're ready to leave that 9-to-5 job behind, visit tradingmadeasy.com or call 800-971-4160 to sign up for a free live training seminar right now. That's tradingmadeasy.com. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Hey, that's you.
Yeah, that's me, making sure we have everything properly programmed at this point. Whoops. But we're all good. Thanks for joining us on The Mark Hoke Show here on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM. I'm Mark Hoke along with Andrew Fain. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow at 8 a.m. We're going to have a lot more news and notes and craziness and Joe's sarcasm, but also his...
And a schmoz.
Yes, and his inside perspective. Of course, he runs Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas. Train the Cross Man. Karrion Kross, excuse me.
I did hear a rumor that Karrion Kross was supposed to be the heavyweight champion for Freddie Prince's wrestling organization. But he got the offer from WWE, so he had to turn Freddie Prince down so he could come back to WWE.
Oh, well.
He was going to be made the champion. I can't think about the name of his organization because he started a new wrestling organization.
Yeah, well, I think that's a pretty good call.
Yeah, I think he made the right call.
Just a hunch. But in terms of just kind of wrap up our discussion on WWE, because a lot of stuff happened in AEW this week, too. Top Dollar, the group that Triple H had built in NXT, and then they were brought up to the main roster
for 2 episodes
and dispatched almost immediately because apparently they rubbed some people wrong in the back.
So did Vince. I'm going to keep making that joke.
That's fine.
That's like a Michael Scott, that's what she said.
Yeah. Well, they're back. So without, of course, Swerve Strickland, who is now currently one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions. But the trio is now there. So they have made their return.
Ashanti the Adonis.
Yes. So now we've got Cross back. We've got Dakota Kai back. Io Shirai got pulled up. She's now Io Sky.
We think Dexter Lumis is back. We're not quite sure yet.
Dexter Lumis showed up on Monday Night Raw. Of course, you haven't seen Dexter Lumis. He is one creepy son of a gun.
Yes, he is.
Just Google it.
And if you believe the rumors, Bray Wyatt is back as well.
Yeah, we may be seeing Bray Wyatt, too, which doesn't surprise me. And, now all of a sudden, all the stories about how Vince treated him like dirt are starting to sneak out as well. Triple H has got the rebellion is over, and Triple H has planted the flag.
And I will say this: the other interesting thing I heard, because what they called the Millennium Meltzer, which is Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select.
Oh, jeez.
But he's reporting that they are just about to sign or have already signed Bray Wyatt. And then an interesting tweet came out from Eric Redbeard, also known as Eric Rowan, basically making it sound like if Bray was back, he was back as well.
Yeah, well, he just wrestled on AEW Rampage on Friday night, so...
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'll tell you. What a tangled web we weave.
And this is why it's like the Monday Night Wars, because if you remember, that's what happened with Rick Rude. He was on an episode of Raw and an episode of Nitro. Lex Luger was on that very first episode of Nitro, as everyone thought he was still in the WWE, and he walked into the Mall of America there. Mm-hmm. So that's where it has some similarities.
I hope that AEW doesn't get into quite that kind of shenanigans.
I don't think they will. I think they're going to learn from WCW's mistakes, and that's going to make it a much better product, and it's going to make it a better battle between the two. Yep. And the only people that lose are nobody, because we all win by being able to watch it.
Yeah, and unlike what happened towards the latter part of WCW, AEW has enough good people there. They're going to keep that product up. Even though I did have a little fault this week with them. But
I like I said, I have a fault with the storyline with John Moxley. What was your fault with them this week?
Well, AEW Dynamite, of course, airs on...
Gimme. That's what I like. It's Dynamite.
Really, Fish?
Sorry. It's Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I don't sing Sunday mornings.
God. You're in a peppy mood, too, which is good. Anyway, the AEW Wednesday night show, the Quake by the Lake,
Oh, good Lord.
I love they come up with the names.
Yeah,
I really
but
do.
and I will say this: it made it sound bigger than just another episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, they're really good at it. It's a House of Dragons show next week.
Yes,
That's going to be fun. They're promoting the House of Dragons show coming up on HBO, and Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, will be taking on the now newly appointed Dragon Slayer.
That's kind of stealing from
Daniel Garcia.
That's kind of stealing from Seth freaking Rollins, who was the King Slayer and the Beast Slayer.
Yeah, well, slay the dragon, man. That's what gets slayed. Dragons get slayed.
They also said that really quick. I know you're going to go back to AEW. But you know me, I have a train of thought. And it goes that apparently that there's a Toronto. I think it's in Toronto coming up on Monday Night Raw, and they're already advertising Cody Rhodes, and they're like, you can't be advertising him. So either he's not going to be there, or that he's coming back much sooner than people thought.
There's no way he's coming back from that torn pec that quick. There's no way.
Just telling you that he was on the recent advertisement.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Maybe he'll show up. But the Wednesday night show featured 5 matches, some pretty good ones.
Absolutely.
You kicked it off with Darby Allin against Brody King in another coffin match for Darby, which he wins, and it was bloody and messy.
And that's who it is. It's supposed to, remember, I was talking to you off before I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. I was talking about that someone else was supposed to join House of Black. It's supposed to be Darby Allin. He's going to turn on Sting and join House of Black.
That'd be interesting. But Darby Allin wins that match, but started the thing off with his skateboard loaded with thumbtacks on the bottom and busted Brody King open right off the bat. And Brody was bleeding all over the place.
Like a stuck pig.
Oh, it was not good. And then in your main event, you had, which was the AEW Interim World Championship match. We'll get into it. Moxley defends against Chris Jericho. Now, I thought there was a chance that Jericho could win that match, depending on when Punk was coming back. Well, Mox wins the match. Mox had his earring supposedly ripped out by Jericho during the match. Don't know if you saw that spot, but Jericho was holding up his earring.
And Mox won by DQ, if I remember correctly.
No, he won by submission. It was a submission.
I thought it was when the entire Jericho Appreciation Society came down to the ring and started beating up on Mox.
No, that was before. It was a submission victory for Moxley. Right. And so Moxley, of course, you know what happens when you cut your ear.
It bleeds profusely.
It's really bad. And then Jericho took an accidental hit on an exposed turnbuckle. Because if you've never seen, if you haven't watched wrestling that much, there's turnbuckles on, boxing, wrestling rings. There's turnbuckles that cover where the ropes come together, and all it is a big metal piece that gets cranked together. And they had taken a turnbuckle off, and you do that spot all the time, but Jericho actually hit his head on that.
Ouch.
And you could see he was hurting. He was down and covering that thing up for a while, and he was bleeding all over the place. This is the one thing that AEW, I think, has got to watch, is they're going, old, Territory Day Wrestling and so on, and even up through the 80s had a lot of blood.
Yeah, just look at Abdullah the Butcher.
But it was done in big matches. It was done at, pay-per-views. It wasn't done every week on TV. And one thing that I'm getting really worried about with AEW is they're overdoing that. And obviously, and if you don't know, wrestlers do cut themselves open with blades.
It's called blading.
There's multiple ways to hide it. But they will, give themselves a little nick on the forehead or something like that to get the blood flowing. And it's just been a lot.
Too many crimson masks.
There's a place for it because you are having two people fighting, and if they're in a very grudge type match, someone should get busted open. It's going to happen. You're in a steel cage. If I'm fighting you in a steel cage, I'm taking your face.
If you're fighting me in a steel cage, we got problems.
Yeah, I'm taking your face and I'm raking it across and bouncing you off the posts and all that stuff. Because that's where you're trying to settle a long grudge.
Right, and if you bleed every week, then the blood that happens in the cage match doesn't mean anything.
Right, you're going to lessen it, and I think they've got to be really careful because they're just coming off. You had the blood and guts match,
right?
Which was like the War Games. They have 2 rings with 2 steel cages on it. I mean, just everybody's getting busted open on AEW right now, and it's not. Eventually, you're going to wear that impact of that out, and they've got to be careful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was kind of my big complaint about Dynamite.
And I get that. And my other complaint about Dynamite, Mark Henry needs to just stop. He can't be in the ring anymore. He can't be on the microphone. He's just not good.
Wow. He might hurt you on that.
He might. But, he's a great dude. I got nothing against Mark Henry. But I don't know. I don't know if they had him interviewing again on Wednesday, but he was just not good.
He has that thing on Rampage on Friday where everybody the main event they have the little each does a competing promo, and then it's time for the main event, and people get a kick out of that. But yeah, I could see where you could say that. So, but of course the big happening on that after Moxley wins the match is now the world champion who had broken his foot shows up at the end of the match, and now CM Punk and Jon Moxley appear to be headed to a showdown at AEW's All Out pay-per-view coming up on the 4th of September. So now we get to deal with this interim world title. And Fish, every time I've said it, you have cringed. It is something that has been done in boxing, MMA, where if the champion gets hurt, if he's going to be out for a while, they make an interim champion, someone that's going to act as the world champion and then for a while, and then once the regular world champion has recovered, then those two fight. So they decided to go the same route with this because Punk hurt his foot literally a week after he won the world title. So this is going to be interesting. I got to say I'm really excited about this match with Mox and Punk coming up. That should be something pretty special.
Yeah, and I will tell you, this is why I don't like it. And believe it or not, of all people, it's Jim Cornette who actually, to me, put it perfectly. And I'm just going to read a little thing that Jim Cornette had said about it. He goes, he's got one of the biggest names in professional wrestling, CM Punk, as your AEW world champion. He gets an injury, so instead of stripping him of the belt, you decide to create an interim champion with the thought that when Punk is ready to go, they will reunite those titles. That's a surefire story in any kind of combat sport. Can't miss angle, and they've missed it. Because to do that properly, once Tony being Tony Khan, had made the decision to create an interim champion and not to strip Punk, then obviously not only any genius, but anybody that just knows anything would have said, okay, the interim champion needs to be the strongest heel I've got with a big mouth. Because that interim champion needs to win that interim title, and he needs to crow about it, and he needs to get some wins every week against the majority of my roster to keep him strong. And it's going to just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep winning. So when Punk finally comes back, the interim champion goes, I've beaten more guys than you ever defended your title against. I'm the true champion. So you have a top face in CM Punk against a top heel, and then you sell massive pay-per-views. Moxley versus CM Punk, you don't know who you're going to cheer for because they're both faces. So they missed the mark on that angle because it could have been so much more.
I will agree with you on that most of the way. Here's the issue that I think that they had, though, was not knowing how long Punk was going to be out. Because I really think that, we had discussed this, that I thought that maybe Jericho should have won the title and then you could have gone to Eddie Kingston if it was going to drag out that long. But they weren't sure if Punk was going to be back for this pay-per-view or back in November with this foot injury. So now he's back. And
I think he came back sooner than most people thought.
Yeah, and I think that was the main issue with this whole thing, is that he came back a lot faster than everybody thought he would. And so you kind of have to have this match. I would almost be tempted. I don't know. You don't have enough time, though. There's only 3 weeks. You couldn't take the belt off Moxley and put it on somebody else real quick.
Right. I don't have a problem with there being an interim champion. I have the problem with Moxley being the interim champion, and not because he's not good enough, because I think Cornette's right. It had to have been a heel, because then you can build up that heel so massively, so then that becomes a huge match between the massive heel and the massive face that is CM Punk.
Yeah, and of course there's other possibilities coming out, too, where you may have the return of MJF, which from what I had read, MJF was planned to win the world title from Punk at some point. Eddie Kingston's still out there. There's a lot of people that they can throw in the mix after this, and it was just an unfortunate happening. It was a shame that
it really was.
Punk got hurt so quick.
But unfortunately, injury is obviously part of the sport. It was good to see Bryan Danielson back as well this week. I know he came back last week, but the match he's got a match next week against Daniel Garcia, which is just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, Daniel Garcia. It's funny that you forget about him, but then when you actually see him wrestle again, you're like, oh my God, this guy's really good. Yeah, and another injury news, by the way, from AEW, Chris Statlander, who had just gotten one knee cleaned up, has apparently torn an ACL in her other knee. And just when she was getting the rocket ship, is out again.
Back.
So now they're apparently going to go back to Tony Storm challenging Thunder Rosa. And honestly, I hope Tony wins it this time. The promos that Rosa has been cutting just have been...
I do like the fact that they call a match a Thunderstorm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Good idea. And let's see, what else happened there, too. And, of course, the Trios Championship are starting to get underway, and we had a little saga there with the Young Bucks trying to get Hangman Adam Page to be their partner in this tournament.
And he said, oh, my goodness, no, I wonder why. Who could come in and save them and become their third member of the Trios?
Kenny Omega should be coming back here next week.
Does that mean that because now the Young Bucks are face, does that mean Kenny Omega is now face?
I don't know.
Does he come back with Don Callis?
That would be hard. The Bucks are a puzzling enigma sometimes.
Yeah, because the
in
Bucks
AEW.
got made a face by Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Right. So a little confusing, but everybody's going to be excited to see Kenny back. So I'm guessing he'll come back as a face or a good guy for now. We'll see how that turns out.
It's funny because that's what they always do. Like when Triple H left when he got hurt, he was a heel, but because he was out so long when he first came back, he got that huge pop.
Oh yeah. And
it always happens when a guy first comes back, no matter if they're a face or a heel, they get the huge pop. As long as they're a wrestler that people had something invested in.
Right. And of course, this is the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM, the talk of Las Vegas. I'm Mark Hoke along with Andrew Fain. We are talking some pro wrestling here on a Saturday night. And once again, don't forget to join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time here.
Boy, that's early.
Yeah. See, now you're getting kind of a dose of what I do because, normally a Harvey Hyde show, which is on coming up here after we're done, I get out of work after that, and then I have to come back in here, get about 6:30 to get ready for the show. So, yeah, turning it over, baby. That's what I do.
You're an animal.
I am. Hear me roar, baby. That's how it goes. We did have another interesting... a couple interesting things happening on Rampage on Friday night, too, as Eric Redbeard, formerly the Eric Rowan, made another appearance here and teamed with...
He's officially signed to AEW then? Because he was making a couple of one-off appearances with them without a contract.
I would have to look and see what his contract status is. I'm not sure. But he teamed with our good buddy Danhausen, very nice, very evil.
I do like Danhausen.
To get, of course, beaten by the Gun Club, Billy Gunn's kids, Austin Colton. But yeah, that is interesting. I mean, would you bring Eric Rowan? And actually, I remember I read he's not under contract yet. Would you bring Eric Rowan in if you could for this roster? Do you think he fits?
What I would for WWE, what I would do is I would bring him in, and I would have him, Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest be the new Wyatt family.
That would be interesting.
So the Judgment Day becomes the new Wyatt family.
Ooh.
Bray Wyatt becomes the leader of Judgment Day, and he could still be the Fiend as the leader of Judgment Day.
That would be fun. Good job, Mr. Creative.
And then maybe it'd still bring Alexa Bliss back along as well because that never got resolved.
Let her go. Let her be little Miss Bliss.
And by the way, apparently the thing that ticked Bray Wyatt off the most was his match against Randy Orton at WrestleMania that he was supposed to win, and then they changed it day off to let Orton win the match.
That was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Vince screwed him over a couple of times, and there's also, like I said, there's all sorts of stories coming out about him saying that Vince was very derogatory toward him, insulted his weight.
He body shamed him.
Yeah, I mean, just some bad stuff. I mean, this is
because the thing that I couldn't understand. You want to get rid of Braun Strowman because the amount of money he was making, that's fine. But Bray Wyatt was the number one merchandise mover.
Yeah.
If the guy's selling the most merchandise, no matter how much he's making, he's going to be bringing more in. How can you get rid of him?
Yeah, and to me, the biggest mistake they ever made with him was the WrestleMania match with John Cena, where they were trying to get Cena to kind of come over to the dark side and get desperate in a match.
What was it? The Funhouse? It was a Funhouse match.
No, it was before that.
Oh, no. Oh, you mean back in the day, like 2000? Yeah. Okay, I thought you meant the 2020 WrestleMania.
Yeah, that crazy freak show thing.
That was kind of a cool match.
Yeah, it was interesting. But of course, a lot of people thought Bray should have gone over on John Cena, and it didn't happen. And to me, that really slowed him down. And then the Fiend got slowed down when he lost to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. I mean, which was just ridiculous.
But unfortunately, that's why you shouldn't have booked the Fiend against Goldberg. Goldberg has to win when he goes to Saudi Arabia because that's what the fans want to see is Goldberg.
Yeah, they kind of control the booking a little bit over there.
Exactly.
So,
but I mean, it seems like John Cena's on the bad end of ruining a lot of pushes, like the Nexus push. The Nexus should have gone over John Cena, and John Cena had to win that match too. I don't know if it's all John Cena's call or not.
Probably. I'm guessing Mr. Cena had some say in that whole thing. Just saw an
interview with him when he was talking about, does he want a 17th title run? He said no. He goes, I'm not putting in the work for it. I don't deserve to hold a title for the 17th time.
Interesting. Well, good for him. And it would be a bad move. It really would. Just keep it at 16. Of course, it's breaking Ric Flair's record. Even though if you actually look at the statistics in some of Ric Flair's matches, he does have more title reigns.
Yeah,
They just were not officially recognized by the NWA. Some fascinating stories on that. Let's see, what else do we have coming up on out of AEW? Adam Cole looks like he's coming back.
Bay.
So we'll look forward to finally seeing him. But Kenny Omega coming back. I mean, one thing that's really exciting right now between WWE pulling these other wrestlers back and AEW finally getting healthy again, because they had their roster just decimated. Boy, the possibilities are pretty endless for what we're going to be seeing in the next couple of weeks. I mean, how excited are you for both of these organizations, Fish?
I can't wait. And it's funny, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel bad for Impact because they are bigger than the mid-major, I guess you could call them, wrestling organizations, but they're getting completely lost in the shuffle here.
Yeah,
they have the talent to put on some good shows, but even if they do, nobody cares.
Well, they've got to get on a better TV network. I mean, I know they kind of have their network, but we can't watch it here. You know, I get the YouTube channel. If you have like a Fire Stick, you can get it. Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of go out of your way, but just being on basic cable,
right? You can't get it on basic cable, and
no.
that does cause an issue. I get that, but it's just sad to me that the rising tide should raise all boats, and it doesn't seem like Impact is getting their boat raised, well, so to speak. That was Vince McMahon's problem too.
You got to get a TV deal. Wow. He's not going to let it go, folks. Andrew Fish Fain, everybody. Rolling and rolling here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM 720 AM. Talk of Las Vegas. Doing a little wrestling chat, as we always do.
Love it.
So right now, the matches coming up at Clash at the Castle. It's Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre for the undisputed WWE Universal title. God, please split these belts up.
But I don't know how they're going to split them up. That's the problem. Because if Drew wins, he wins both belts. So then do you have Drew face Karrion Kross for one of the two belts?
They've got to do something in terms of, I'm only going to defend one title against you. Just come up with a good storyline on it.
You haven't, like, I guess it could be for Karrion Kross. You haven't earned your way to win for both of them, so you can have one. You pick which one you want.
Yeah, something along those lines. Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler. I am really looking forward to seeing Shayna Baszler. I hope she wins.
She's not going to.
You know what, Fish? I may
say that because after watching what Liv Morgan did to her on Friday night, I don't think she wins.
I think she wins. I think we may have a Mountain Dew bet on that or something.
I guess if she does, it's that way you could have Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, which is what they really want.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Did you like the bootleg Ronda Rousey line from Liv Morgan there?
It was pretty good. So that'll be coming up. And We got Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka taking on Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky in a six-woman tag team match. So that's all that's on the
card so far.
Well,
I think they're setting up Happy Corbin and Ricochet. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's interesting. We saw Happy Corbin helping out Drew McIntyre on SmackDown. So,
and we saw Sami Zayn get a Claymore.
Well-deserved, by the way. Well-deserved.
And Kevin Owens apparently is getting a real push now, too.
Yeah, so it's going to be some pretty exciting stuff.
I look forward
coming
to Monday night.
Yep. Well, you know what I'm looking forward to?
What?
I'm looking forward to Sunday morning when we get to do this all again with the two of us and Joe DeFalco.
Love me some Joe DeFalco.
Hey,
it's a schmoz.
Yeah, so don't forget, hey, if you want to listen to any of our back shows you haven't heard us before, head on over to markhokeshow.podbean.com or all your favorite podcast outlets. We're there. Download all those new episodes. We're just crossed the 1 year mark. Love to have you join us. Of course, follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. You can follow Fish at The Fish 1969. Woo! And guys, we will see you tomorrow morning. Harvey Hyde and the Trojan Football Report coming up here on KDWN. So stick around for that. Have a great night, Las Vegas. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.